It's been 9 months since the Indians last paid a visit to Fenway Park in Boston for a postseason date against the Red Sox. Outside Fenway, Ted Williams, arguably the greatest hitter of all time, stands guard alongside Carl Yastrzemski, an American League MVP in 1967 and a Triple Crown winner. Tonight, the Indians invade Fenway for a big-time showdown against the Red Sox. Jose Ramirez, Francisco Lindor, Carlos Santana, and Bradley Zimmer lead the Indians' charges against the Red Sox club looking to stay alive in the AL East. It will be a warm night here in Boston, Massachusetts, as the Indians and the Red Sox renew their rivalry. It's the first of 3 games this week between Cleveland and Boston. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. The trading deadline came and went today. The Indians and the Red Sox both making last-minute deals to improve their bullpens. For the Indians, it's a familiar face. They get the side-arming right-hander Joe Smith back from the Toronto Blue Jays.
Well, and Joe's a good fit because they know him there. He's a likable guy. When you make a trade at this time of the season, the guy has to fit into the clubhouse. We know Joe Smith will. He's had a very nice season with Toronto, 3-0 with 328 earned run average. He'll take a little pressure and a little, off the bullpen from the right-hand side. And then the Red Sox acquired Addison Reed. They were looking for bullpen help like everybody else. This guy will set up. And you can see on the year with the Mets, 1-2 at 257 and had his save. So, I mean, it's a nice piece for them as well.
All right, the Indians and the Red Sox, of course, met last October in the American League Division Series. And to the surprise of more than just a few, the Indians swept Boston.
They did. They lost 4 out of 6 during the season. But the Indians come back and they sweep them out. And they had a couple of big hits. You remember the Perez home run and the Kipnis. The long ball really propelled them early.
Yeah.
And it didn't stop there. Francisco Lindor, Lonnie Chisenhall hit a big 3-run homer. The emergence of Andrew Miller, and they were awfully tough, and they swept him right out of the series.
Yeah, David Price, remember, he hasn't won in the postseason, and the Indians rocked him early in that game. Came here to Fenway. I remember Cody Allen. It was a little dicey for him, but he gets the final out, and the Indians moved on to the ALCS. It's interesting to me how similar these two teams are this year.
Yeah, when you look at the numbers, they're 1-2 in the league in pitching, so you don't expect to see a lot of runs in this ballpark. I wouldn't think, the way the pitching has been going this year. The Red Sox last in the league in home runs. The Indians, they're in the middle of the pack, so it should be a well-balanced, good, hard-fought series. But the Indians have a tough time winning here in this ballpark or trying to win the series.
Well, Doug Fister hasn't won yet in a Red Sox uniform. He goes to the hill for Boston, and for the Indians, it's Mike Clevenger trying to bounce back after a rough start his last time out. We'll be back with tonight's first pitch. We'll also hear from Andre Knott, who will tell us how the trade has played in the Indians clubhouse. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by W.B. Mason, the official office supplier of the Cleveland Indians. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. By your local Toyota dealers. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by Nature Stone, the only concrete solution.
the back end of games. So what we'd like to do is leverage him against the right-hand hitters. Can take a little bit of the load off of guys like Brian Shaw. He's not going to replace anybody, but with his experience, his ability to, you know, with the deception, his stuff, especially against righties, believe me, we'll use him. And I'll talk to him when he gets here tomorrow. But, you know, having him before, knowing what kind of teammate he is, what kind of guy he is, it's really welcome. I mean, Chris and I talked about this a lot, you know, not just trying to add, but adding guys that fit and not only don't disrupt, but build on what you're doing. And I think Smitty checks all the boxes and more.
The key there, if you were paying close attention, looking for guys that fit. And with more on that, we go downstairs to Andre Knott.
Well, Tito said it perfectly. And then going around in the clubhouse and talking to Mickey Callaway, but also the players, Mickey is happy because Joe knows how they do meetings. He knows how they'll set up and how they'll use him. He feels like he'll fit right in, and they won't have to explain things to him, that the day he gets here, he'll go right in the bullpen. Now, he made a lot of friends with a lot of guys on his team. And in talking to Josh Tomlin, the one thing that stood out to him, and he says he didn't want to speak for Joe Smith, but Joe never really wanted to leave the Indians. He's always been friends with a lot of these guys. He misses these guys. And one of the stories he told Josh Tomlin was, whenever his contract was up, he goes, hey, it's not always greener in other places. He wasn't putting down where he had gone, but he says this is a place he wanted to be. So they're excited to get Joe Smith, and they think it'll help them tremendously as they go forward.
Andre, will he be here tomorrow, do you think?
There's a good chance he will be here tomorrow. I'm going to make sure you go get him from the airport.
I'll be happy to.
Well, the Red Sox take the field behind right-handed sinker baller Doug Fister, winless in a Red Sox uniform. He'll be making just his 5th start of the year. Let's take a look at the lineup he will face tonight for Terry Francona and the Tribe, brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Bradley Zimmer in the leadoff spot, followed by Francisco Lindor. Michael Brantley will bat 3rd. Jose Ramirez tied for 5th in the American League in batting average. Will hit cleanup tonight. Edwin Encarnacion moves to the 5-hole. Then it's Carlos Santana, followed by Austin Jackson, Yan Gomes, and Eric Gonzalez.
And Doug Fister is going to be the Ohio Hyundai starting pitcher for the Red Sox. Yes, he is 0-5. He's pitched 3 times out of the bullpen. He's making his 5th start. But in his career, he has made 16 starts against the Indians. And in his career, he's 5-4 and a nice 3.13 ERA. He's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in 12 of his 16 starts against the Indians. He does a pretty good job with the running game. He's quick to first base, so you got to be careful on that. But they owe him. They got a little payback going, so the first game of this series, let's see if they can get to him early. We'll also check out the defense behind him, brought to you by W.B. Mason, and it looks like this. In the outfield, it's going to be Holt in left, Bradley Jr. in center, Betts over in right, Devers at 3rd, Bogarts at short, Nunez at 2nd, Moreland at 1st, Vasquez doing the catching.
Mark Wagner, the crew chief, will call the balls and strikes tonight. Marty Foster at 1st, Mike McClinsky at 2nd, Ryan Blackney is at 3rd base. And we're ready to go here at Fenway, where last year during the regular season, Boston won 4 of 6, but the Tribe swept the Red Sox in the ALDS. The line in the first pitch is down and in, 1-0, and we're underway here in Boston.
Yeah, Fister has walked 17 out of in his first 25 and a 3rd inning. So
back out of play, and a count 1-1 on Bradley Zimmer.
Normally a guy that doesn't walk a whole lot, or he never used to, but walking more this year.
Zimmer with a ground ball to 2nd. Eduardo Nunez, recently acquired from San Francisco, a guy that can play a number of different positions. They've got him at 2nd base tonight. He can play 3rd, can play some outfield. He throws out Zimmer, 1 away. Our storylines tonight brought to you by Wayside Furniture. Francisco Lindor riding a 10-game hitting streak. And for the Red Sox, the guy at the top of their order, somebody to keep an eye on, Mookie Betts. Francisco Lindor already has 2 12-game hitting streaks this year. This is his 3rd of at least 10 games now. And he's got that batting average back up to 271.
Yeah, it is climbing. It's slowly climbing, but you know he's going to get it up there before it's all said and done.
Lindor with a ground ball to first, scooped up by Moreland. And there are 2 down. Our game time temperature tonight, 77 degrees. It was a hot one today in Boston, temperature in the 80s this afternoon. Just about ideal though here at game time.
Supposed to be like that the next 2 days as well.
Been a heck of a road trip as far as the weather is concerned.
No question.
Indians begin the day 2 games in front of Kansas City in the American League Central Division. Both teams have won 9 of their last 10. And they pulled away from Minnesota, who began the day 7 games out, and traded away a couple of key pitching pieces, signaling perhaps the end of their pursuit of a playoff spot. Brantley with a smash to second. Nunez with a terrific play. And the Tribe is retired in order here in the first. Nunez going to his left. The wicked one-hopper. And John Farrell starting 9 is brought to us courtesy of Hankook Tires. Mookie Betts tied for 3rd in the American League with 31 doubles. Will lead it off. Then it's Brock Holt, followed by Eduardo Nunez. Hanley Ramirez, the DH batting cleanup. Jackie Bradley, followed by Rafael Devers. Xander Bogaerts, Mitch Moreland, and Christian Vasquez rounded out.
And the Ohio Honda starting pitcher, Mike Clevinger for the Indians, 5-3 with a .320 earned run average. Clevinger in his last start, he surrendered a season-high 6 runs, 5 earned, with a couple of walks and 5 strikeouts. Only 4 1/3 innings. His worst start. Gave up a career-high 9 hits, but he gave up a couple of big home runs in that ball game. 5 of those 6 runs he gave up came off the long ball. So let's set the defense for the Indians. Brought to you by Ram. It's Brantley, Zimmer, and Jackson in the outfield. It's Ramirez, Lindor, Gonzalez, Santana on the infield, and Gomes doing the catch. First time ever that Clevinger is starting here against the Red Sox.
His first pitch to Mookie Betts in there for a called strike. This is an Indians pitching staff that, since the All-Star break, is 3rd in all of baseball with 159 strikeouts. And they, along with the Royals, have issued the fewest number of walks in the American League. Only 40 walks issued by both of those pitching staffs since the All-Star break, and the Indians' collective ERA is at 3.16 coming out of the break. So they've done a nice job, and it's a big reason why they've had the surge that we've seen of late. Missed outside, 2-2.
Well, this is only the third appearance against an Eastern Division team for Clevenger. First time he came out of the bullpen against Tampa, only went a third of an innings, and then he made the start against Baltimore, if you remember.
Swung on and missed. He strikes out Mookie Betts. One down.
Gets him on a slider and down. That's a good place to pitch in this ballpark. Is down. He gets Betts to go after and chase it. And you remember in that start in Baltimore, he was a little amped up in the first inning or two. He ended up fighting his way, getting through 5, and got the win in that ball game against the Orioles.
Here's Brock Holt. And he takes the first pitch strike.
Interesting story for Holt. A guy that, you know, would play all over the diamond for the Red Sox. He was on the DL this year. He had vertigo.
Oh, I thought he had an avoid arb.
Yeah, that's right, for Tommy Bow. He was on from April 21st to, you know, July 15th. That's a little joke inside. Goes back home to Cleveland, and we know you're watching, T-Bow.
Down and in to Brock Holt.
You were waiting for me to say that, weren't you? You were probably waiting for 4 o'clock.
You set it up. Well, this is a guy that we have seen in the past. He can play all over the place.
Yeah.
He's handled the bat well, but I have no idea what it's like dealing with something like vertigo. I'm guessing that it's been pretty problematic for him this year.
Yes, I mean, it messes with your whole equilibrium, everything. You're off balance. It's tough walking, and there's no telling. There's no timetable on it. It could be a day or it could be a couple of years.
Downstairs, full count. Payoff pitch, and it's outside. He walked him. That's the thing that Clevenger has got to avoid. It's one of the things that has enabled him to really become a mainstay in the starting rotation. Down to Andre.
Well, and last start for Mike Clevenger, I think Mickey Callaway told me earlier today, he felt like he nibbled once the team got a lead. He said that's the one thing he stayed away from doing so far this year. So they just talked to him about maturing and trusting his stuff. They keep telling him, your stuff is good enough. You don't have to nibble. He thought he pitched to the scoreboard a little bit as well once the team got that 7-run lead.
Yeah, this can be an intimidating park, making your first start here as well. Fenway Park, that short porch in left field. And that's why it's imperative that you try and pitch from in front and get strike one on a lot of these hitters here. They've never faced you before. He's only faced 2 hitters in that lineup. One was Nunez, this guy here, and the other's Moreland. Other than that, it's all new, so you want to try and be aggressive early.
Nunez shoots it foul over to the right. This was a great pickup for Boston from San Francisco. He's a guy that can handle the bat very well, and he can play a number of different positions. So it's not like you traded for a third baseman. You traded for a guy that can plug a hole wherever you need him to almost.
Well, and with Pedroia having some knee issues, maybe that's one of the big reasons why they went after this guy.
Popped him up. Is this playable?
It's going to be close.
Yes, sir. 2 down. So Nunez retired, and up comes Hanley Ramirez. Nobody probably, I'd say in the near future. Let's be safe and say that, is going to be able to replace David Ortiz. Hanley Ramirez serving as the designated hitter. But Ortiz was more than just a designated hitter and the cleanup guy. He was the mainstay. He was the foundation, really, for the Red Sox recent success.
He's their heart and soul. You take him out, you're taking the heart out of the clubhouse, out of the lineup. And then you just don't replace that.
The 1-0. Fouled back.
Okay, let's say, I mean, when you go back and look back at that, let's say like a Willie Stargell, or somebody that has such a great impact, not only in the lineup but in that clubhouse, in the city, and everything else. It means a whole lot. Because the Red Sox, they're last in the league in home runs with 105. And, you just don't come into this ballpark. You think they would have more, but they've got line drive hitters. They got gap-to-gap hitters. They should hit a lot of doubles. They're third in stolen bases.
1-1 pitch.
But it's like when you need that clutch hit, there's no one guy that's going to do it for you. It's going to take a total team effort.
Throw to first, and Holt dives back safely. No score, bottom of the first. Boston began the day a half game back of the Yankees in the AL East, because New York's won 8 out of 10. And Boston came in having lost 7 out of 10. Yankees at home hosting a Detroit Tigers club that has won 2 in a row, but reeling from all the recent trades in Motown. The 3-1 pitch. Clevenger's walked 2 in the first.
Well, Gomes going to go out and try and settle him down a little bit, and don't try and be too fine. But as you know, we talked about pitchers and starting pitchers, how they feel in this environment. When you come into a new ballpark, maybe getting used to the mound may take a little, getting used to it. The smaller ballpark, who knows how he feels. If home plate feels closer to him, farther away, it's an adjustment that all starters have to make.
I will say this, it's one of those ballparks that is very unique in the fact that until you've stood on that field, television does not truly capture how small this park can feel. In the air to left center, Bradley Zimmer cruising over. He'll call for it, makes the catch, and the side is retired. Red Sox strand a pair, no score after 1.
with the MLB.com at-bat app on your smartphone or tablet. You can stay connected with live radio broadcasts, stats, breaking news, and more. Download the #1 app for live baseball. That's MLB.com at-bat.
Jose Ramirez will lead off for the Indians here in the second inning, and this plays into what Terry Francona told me before the ball game, which is of the reasons he made the switch, putting Ramirez in the 4-hole and dropping Edwin Encarnacion to the 5th spot. He said, if we go 1, 2, 3 in the first, I'd rather have Jose leading off the second inning than Edwin Encarnacion. And there are some other, reasons involved as well. He said one of the things is, I've just had the sense that lately teams are going to start pitching around Jose. And he goes, this way with Edwin behind him, they may be less inclined to do that, may force them to pitch to him. So this isn't something he just woke up this morning and said, I think I'm going to flip-flop my guys in the middle of the order. But it is interesting.
A lot of thought goes into it, no question. And Tito is the type of guy that he's going to wait a little bit longer before he makes a decision instead of making it too quickly. He'll think about it, he'll toss and turn, he'll talk to everybody about it. A lot of thought process goes into it. So when he finally does make the move, he's ready to do it.
Now the 1-2, and this is not a move that he told me also that he's just going to try out and see how it is for a couple of days. This is something he's willing to, ride this out. Down low, Ramirez takes full count.
What do we always say? It's a game of adjustments, and you make adjustments, and as a manager, you'll do that with your lineup too occasionally. Some more than others.
Looking in, Doug Fister, ready with a payoff pitch, and a line drive base hit into left field for Ramirez. And the Indians get their leadoff man aboard here in the second. Now also playing into the lineup
there
is Jason Kipnis, who I know Andre has probably an update there, but Kipnis is trying to work his way back into playing shape. And when he gets back, that could alter the lineup composition once again.
Yes. The other thing is that Tito said is Edwin now can protect Jose, which he thought was so important earlier on. But you remember Jose batted cleanup, I want to say a couple years ago when we were in Atlanta, and he was excited, took a picture, sitting home. Today when I mentioned it to him, he says, I don't care. I just want to win. I don't care where they hit me.
Well, and it really doesn't seem to matter, Andre, where they hit him. He just hits.
Well, he was down 0-2 in that at-bat and ended up working a full count and takes a base hit the other way. That's what I like, and that's what he's talking about. If you have to lead off an inning, Ramirez is a guy that can get on base and get it started.
And, Rick, I think this is something you're going to see a lot in the series. When the Indians get base hits, especially with the guys they know that can run, you're going to see Boston throwing over, trying to do everything they can to slow them down. Even though this is not a park historically where you want to take a lot of chances. But John Farrell made a point of saying, hey, the Indians, nobody's stolen more bases in the American League since the All-Star break than Cleveland. It's something we're going to keep an eye on.
Well, here is another thing. Both the Indians and the Red Sox have thrown out 26 base runners. So they're both two of the best at throwing out guys. But I said Fister's a guy you can't run on because even though he's 6'6", 6'7", he gets rid of the ball to home plate in about a second. So you can't get a jump, and you're not going to make an out in this ballpark on the bases. You run on the pitchers. He's 1 second flat delivering the ball to home plate. So if you give Vasquez a chance to throw you out, he's done a nice job. And you look at Gomes behind the plate for the Indians, same situation.
Ripped to the third baseman, and it handcuffed Devers. He recovers in time to force Ramirez one down.
Yeah, that young man, the young rookie's been up about a week or so. Yeah, I don't know if you see any line drives coming at you like that. That was, I mean, smoked off the bat of Encarnacion. And that, I don't know if it was a knuckleball or it was moving. It had some movement on it, but he stayed with it, and that's a good trade, even though he tried to catch it. You'd rather have Encarnacion on the base instead of Ramirez.
If you're Boston. Edwin Encarnacion aboard at first with one out for Carlos Santana, who's been swinging the bat well of late. And I think that also played into Tito's decision. He said, the way Santana's been swinging the bat, he goes, we've got, you can go with the left, switch, right, switch. You've got guys in the order that can help pick each other up.
See, it's easier for Tito now to put these two guys back to back, Encarnacion and Santana, because, as he said, he's swinging it better, and he's a second half player. You know, if they're both cold at one time, that could be dangerous because there's a lot of swings and misses. But now's the time to do it.
Even though the Indians have piled up a lot of runs of late, they haven't really been doing it with the long run, the home run ball. They've only homered 18 times since the All-Star break. Only the White Sox and the Reds have hit fewer home runs in the majors since the break. But they've hit the second most doubles in the American League, 33 doubles since the break. So, you know, the batting average has been a little better, more traffic, extra base hits just in general.
These guys do a different kind of switch here. Devers didn't know which side of the infield to go on. They move him with the count in the hitter's favor all the way over to second base in the hole between first and second.
3-1 is ball. No, he called it a strike. Full count.
And I can see why. He's over in the hole between first and second. You want your second baseman shortstop up the middle to turn something on the double play as opposed to the third baseman. And there's a little pitch right on the outside edge.
Really good location right on that corner. Way out in front of that. We'll do it again. Vasquez going to go out and see what Pfister wants to do here on the 3-2 pitch.
Yeah, Pfister, his last start came July 20th against Toronto, where he went 4 1/3 and gave up 6 runs. So he came out of the bullpen a couple of times. Now he's making the start today.
Upstairs, ball 4. So he's walked his first, and the Indians have 2 on with 1 out for Austin Jackson. Austin Jackson's been on a pretty good tear of late, riding a 7-game hitting streak in which he has gone 13 for 26.
Sounds like it's about 500 to me.
Yeah, right on the nose.
Yeah. Been really quiet in the batter's box when it comes to a hitter. Not much of a stride. He takes the ball the other way. You got Pfister now that's trying to nibble a little bit.
"39 career games against Boston. He's more than done his fair share. Trying to deliver a big hit here for the Tribe early.
Well, important for Encarnacion, who is at second base, to get a good secondary lead and jump on anything. A lot of times you won't score here on a base hit to left field because the left fielder is shallow, but you have to make sure you can score on a base hit to center or right field, although Betts has a very good arm, and so does Bradley.
2-1, tied him up with a good pitch. And the count even now at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Comes a little heater down and in, and he can sink that ball. That was maybe in off the plate that he got Austin to swing and chase.
The other way into the crowd. By Sandy Alomar, and then it skips up into the crowd. rings him up, and Austin Jackson not real pleased. 2 down. First strikeout for Pfister.
Take a look at the breaking ball. That's a pretty good pitch.
Yep.
Pretty good pitch. He locked him up. He thought that ball was going to bounce or go out of the zone, but it stayed right there. Pretty good pitch. Get the second out of the inning.
Now up comes Yan Gomes. That first run so important for the Indians. They're 41-16 on the year when they score first. Yesterday, a rare loss.
Yeah.
Even though they had the first run in that game.
Yesterday, they scored first for the 9th consecutive game.
They just never added on.
Right.
The 1-1. And now Gomes in the hole, 0-2. And to score first here would be maybe even more important than anywhere else because they haven't won here. The last time the Indians won a single series at this ballpark outside of the postseason, obviously, was 0-5. And a weak ground ball ends the inning. So the Indians get 2 on. They cannot take advantage. And after an inning and a half, no score. Look at our Levin Furniture player profile. John Farrell, who was a second-round pick of the Indians back in 1984, and he told me once there are only so many bullets, and when they're gone, they're gone. He underwent Tommy John surgery twice before he hung him up in 1996. And then went back to school, went to Oklahoma State, got his degree, was an assistant coach at his alma mater, and then he spent 5 years with the Indians player development system. Then he came to Boston and teamed up with Terry Francona before moving on to become a manager. And he's not that he didn't already know this, but if there was ever any doubt, he found out very quickly how fickle the fans can be here in Boston.
Well, he had a chance to manage in Toronto as well before he came back here to manage. So, yeah, but this is not an easy town to do anything in. Play, manage, very critical.
Remember, it was a kind of an odd deal when he was at Toronto. He came here, and it was kind of like almost like a player trade.
Yeah.
Mike Aviles went the other way. There's a base hit up the middle. And the Red Sox have their first hit as Rafael Devers leads off with a solid single. 7 for 21 since getting the call up from AAA.
It's out of that open stance. A good low fastball so that he's able to get the barrel of the ball to it. Drives it up the middle. Devers gets his first hit. First hit for the Red Sox.
And Xander Bogaerts steps in. First pitch strike. Bogaerts is 4th in the American League with 4 triples. This is a ballpark where if you hit one over the first baseman's head and get it down into the right field corner where it wraps around, you can get a triple that way. Or if you really crunch one to deep right center.
Yeah, out in the corner out there.
Like that.
That area.
Zimmer races back and makes the catch.
Yeah, but that's where, as a center fielder, you can really shade that way and, you know, take that away. With the left field wall being so close to you in center, if you play towards the right center field and that ball's hit off the wall, you can just go over there and it comes right to you. We had a great shot of this from where we're sitting, and it's just a line drive into right center field, and you take that part of the ballpark away, that's your triples. Doubles are, I mean, you can hold the singles off the wall. You can get some doubles off the wall, but the different ways to play this ballpark with a majority of it to right center over.
Mitch Moreland, he takes the first pitch strike.
You almost use the wall as your friend here defensively. You can play shallower in left field. Anything over your head comes back to you from the wall, down the lines you don't worry about.
Way out in front of it. Nice pitch. And 0-2 the count.
There's a good curveball. Watch how out in front that Moreland was. He was trying to hook that ball. And the speed of that got him. They have the big shift on.
Jammed him. Clevenger with a great grab. Throws to Ramirez for the force there, but Moreland able to beat it out. It was just sort of a slow developing play.
It was actually a great stab by Clevenger to get the ball, and then he's going to throw. They want to see if they stayed on the base, if Ramirez stayed on second base, because the throw, he tried to turn it. That's a nice stab right there, and a pretty good throw. And his footwork there, I guess they're not going to challenge. It was close, but it looked like
they are going to challenge.
They are going to challenge it? Okay. They're going to say that his foot was off the base when he caught the ball, and it could have been because it looked weird. Let's see. Did they get one? Yeah, he might have been off because he didn't look like he had a tough time going to get that ball in the glove as well before he throws to first base. This one might be overturned. That would be a big mistake there. I'm thinking that foot came off early. Here you go. The left foot is off the base. He's going to be called safe, I believe. That footwork, it should have been his right because you're only going to go for one before you can get two. What do you think?
Boy, I don't know. I mean, it looks like his foot's sliding. It's definitely coming off.
Right. We'll see.
This is one of those deals where this was not the intent of replay, but this is what it's come to now. We're splitting hairs on.
Well, you're going to slow it down to a frame is what it comes. 1/130th of
toe on the bag or not, and I think it's going to get overturned. To be honest with you,
it just looked awkward. Even though that foot might have been on the base, he was called out. They didn't turn it, but let's hope they don't catch a break here and it just stands.
Again, it's going to come down to the interpretation of the replay judge as to when's the ball in his glove.
Yeah.
That's what it's really going to come down.
Well, we're going to look and see where is the ball in his glove now.
Can you see his foot though? Is his foot on the bag?
I can't see it from that.
It's
really
moving.
That's hard to see.
All right, what do they say?
Well, it's worth a challenge. He is out. Okay, call stands.
All right.
That's a break.
Yeah,
that's a break.
Here's what I'm going to say. They probably just couldn't tell for sure. And that's kind of where I was. Something just told me that they were going to look at that and say it looked like his foot was coming off the
I felt
base.
the same way after I saw the replay the first time. It was awfully close, but that's a nice break for the Indians.
Well, and with that, Boston has no challenges now. They're done until the 8th inning when you could ask the crew chief for a review. Ground ball to third. Oh, and it goes right by Ramirez. All the way into the corner. This might be trouble. Coming around third, Moreland will be stopped. At least for the moment, the Indians catch a break.
I would think that's an error. It was on his backhand side. He just didn't get down enough as it goes under his glove. But it's a play that Hosey should have made. There it is, right there. He just didn't get down enough. Fair ball. Looked like a relatively easy play. Maybe he thought it was going to come up a little more. They give him a hit. That's very kind. That's a double, but there's a play that should have been made for Hosey, I believe. So now, how big is that call at second?
Now Mookie Betts, who struck out his first time up, still has a chance to really do some damage, though. Center field. Zimmer got a late break. It's going to drop. 2 runs are going to score, and Boston takes the early lead. So Clevenger can't get out of the jam, and the Red Sox strike first.
Well, that's a big hit right there. 2 out, base hit after I thought you should have been out of the inning. Off the end of the bat and bloops it in. So Boston will play from in front. Betts drives in his 64th and 65th run.
Now a costly defensive miscue, though credited with a hit, and nearly 2 miscues in the inning. So 2-0 Boston, and Brock Holt to the plate.
You see Betts run if he feels he can get a jump off of Clevenger. He has stolen 17 out of 20. And they're third in the league with 64 stolen bases.
He's got the 7th most. Bogarts has stolen 9 out of 10. Jackie Bradley 6 out of 8.
Yeah.
Not like the old Red Sox where they were station to station club.
No, since the end of June now they're 24 out of 29, which is over 82%. Since that covers 31 games, so they have been running more because they don't hit the long ball, and they've got to try and make something happen. It's try and stay out of double plays. They've hit into 102 double plays. Now he's fallen behind in the count again. So now you stay put.
Runner goes on the 3-0.
3-0 count.
Throw way off line.
Okay, 3-0 count. He just took off anyway, so he'll get the stolen base. Gomes will get the error as he tried to make up for the jump. And that's what happens. I mean, he probably should have just put it in his pocket, because that throw there, he tried to throw it like 120 miles an hour. and just throws it into the outfield, and then Bradley backing it up. So that's just another mistake. And now I don't blame Callaway coming out here to tell Clevenger to relax.
Yeah.
You know, things happen like this in this ballpark. They caught a break on the call at second base, and then the play that should have ended the inning goes down in the corner for a double that continues the inning. So to me, you're giving them an extra out, and then Betts comes up, hits one off the end of the bat. Okay, they get the 2 runs in. Now on a 3-0 count, when you're behind, the guy runs, you steal a base, you throw one into center field. You're okay, just get out of this inning.
Eduardo Nunez fouled out his only time up. And it's low, ball 1. Well, he hasn't thrown a strike since the 2-run single by Betts. That's 6 in a row.
Yeah, you see how you respond when something like that happens, and I think that's exactly why Callaway went out there, to try and settle him down. See, now that he's back again. It's 7 straight.
Taken all the way in there for a strike.
Here's a situation too. If you're Holt at first base, you can take off here now and apply some more pressure. Great count to hit in 3-1. If he doesn't like it, he can take it. He gets the fastball swinging. You're on the move.
Foul back, full count.
So he will be off at first base. Now.
Fair ball. Another run is in. Holt into third. They're going to wave him home. Brantley's throw to the plate. He is out. And that'll end the inning. But the Red Sox score 3 and grab the early lead as we go to the 3rd. stay tuned later in the game for Miller Time, brought to you by Miller Lite. The Indians last won a series here at Fenway Park during the regular season at the end of June in 2005. Since then, they've split 5 series here and lost 7. And that last half inning kind of illustrates why they don't win well here. You got to play well, and that was an ugly inning.
Well, this is a pretty good ballpark to come hit in, though. They've been offensively swinging the bats, so you come in and see if you have a response.
Broken bat bouncer to Pfister. Quick out, 1 down.
Well, the Indians are going to return home on Thursday and begin a series with the New York Yankees. And on Friday night, it's going to be Dollar Dog Night. Aaron Judge and the boys will be coming to town. 10,000 fans are going to receive a mason jar, a mug courtesy of KeyBank. After the game, there's fireworks set to a 97 Billboard Top 20. Just go to Indians.com.
Matt Cutaro, Indians assistant hitting coach, talking to Terry Francona. Indians first time through the order, just 1 for 8 against Doug Pfister with a walk. They had 2 on the second with 1 out, but could not cash in. Second time around, we'll see what happens. Bradley Zimmer takes. It's a strike 1-1.
I told you, I mean, Pfister in his career, this is his 17th start against him. He's put up good numbers. 5-4 and a nice ERA. 3-13, but
there's a ground ball. Oh, what a diving stop by Moreland. And Doug Pfister's there to take the throw. 2 down. That was another terrific defensive play by Boston.
Yeah, there was 2 of them. Michael Brantley had a hit taken away by Nunez. So the right side of the infield is taking away 2 hits from the Indians. That's a really nice play. And then look at Pfister. The big guy gets over there in time to get the speedster Zimmer. Good play, so 2 down.
And with 2 away, Francisco Lindor to the plate. And a first pitch strike. Stat of the game brought to you by Buick. Francisco Lindor, along with Charlie Blackmon and Ben Gamble, each with 10-game hitting streaks on the year. Tribe retired in order for the second time in 3 innings. 3-0 Boston. as we move to the bottom of the third. Kia in the driver's seat, showing us that Mike Clevenger on the road this year thus far has been very good. That last inning did not go so well, but in all fairness, a lot of that was not his fault. They make a play or two defensively behind him. That inning's over without allowing a run to score. But they didn't, and they're down 3. So Hanley Ramirez to lead off the home half of the third. And a foul ball down the right side. That one was one of those slow motion.
Yeah.
You're waiting and waiting. Is it going to drop fair? No.
Wasn't hit that hard, but it was slicing foul, and you can see it misses by about a foot or two as it bounces into the stand, so that saves a double.
Nice play. She got in front of it.
Well, you better be a good defender in this ballpark down the lines, because these seats are right there, right on you. They get to you in a hurry.
Seems like they're always doing something here at Fenway Park, whether it's adding new seats or upgrading a certain part of the yard, and this year off season was no exception. The 1-1. They extended each dugout by 3 feet, and in doing so they added another row of seats between the dugout back toward home plate on each side. So imagine, that's not a cheap ticket.
No kidding. 3 feet, so you had to add a couple more seats. You're right.
Rip fouled on the left side. Yeah, these were the smallest dugouts in baseball, and they're still not real long, but at least now they're wider. So there's, it used to be you couldn't walk from one end of the dugout to the other if somebody was standing in the middle. You'd have to each kind of move sideways to get out of each other's way.
You got to duck your head to get under that railing top too, or at least you used to have to.
So there's a little more depth to the dugout now because of the renovation.
No depth down here for me, though.
No.
They took away some room from Andre.
He waves at it. Hanley Ramirez down on strikes. It's the second K for Clevenger. Well, Andre, what do you have for us besides your cramped quarters?
It is very cramped, but I'm going to work through it. It's all right. You know, you guys remember that glove that Mike Clevenger had in his last start?
Yeah.
All nice and gray, and the Angels made him take it away. Now, there's a story to that. No one is claiming why he had to change the glove. The Angels aren't saying, the umpires are saying. Well, look at the glove today. It's the same glove, just painted black. In Chicago, he got black paint and painted the glove. The manufacturer of his glove did come to Chicago. They fit him for a new glove. He will have a new glove in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But that is the same glove. He just painted it black, basically, boys.
Okay, is it going to be a black glove, though?
Yes.
Did he order a black one?
The company was in Chicago waiting for us, fitting him for the glove that he wanted. So, yes, it'll be black.
Broken bat bouncer to second. Eric Gonzalez throws out Jackie Bradley, and there are 2 down. I don't know. The whole thing just seems really silly to me because it's. I can understand if it was a white glove, if it was something that really stood out, was distracting. It was just a dark gray.
It was a dark gray, and some people want to say that the ball could get caught up and say, I don't disagree with you. I'm just telling you what they took. That was the glove. That was someone else's backup glove that he used there in the last game.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Matt. I think it's ridiculous. I think some people on the team think it's ridiculous, but the Angels, who he was drafted by, they figured it was a good way to get under his
maybe they did.
bit. And but they're not claiming they did it, so I don't know why it would happen. They won't take any.
Sergeant Schultz.
Yes.
I know nothing. Well, I could even understand if it was a light gray like the color of his pants. If it was that light in color, I can see, well, that might be a little distracting for a hitter. But in any event, the 1-1 is in the air to left. Back goes Brantley, and he's going to watch this one hit off the wall. Zimmer's there to back it up. Fires to the cutoff man. A 2-out double for Rafael Devers, and he's 2 for 2.
Well, that's where that monster out there is your friend. If that's not there and it's pushed back or it's normal, then Brantley can continue to go back and make a play on it. but it's not hit that deep, and it's hit good enough to get off the monster, though, just above the scoreboard, and that's why the center fielder has to come over and back up. Anywhere that hits, it may take a different bounce. That one had it ricocheted quite well, you know, bounce, and that's why Zimmer was over there to back up.
Now Xander Bogaerts, who lined out to center his first time up. Swings over the top of a breaking ball. Slow chopper to third. Ramirez chases in and throws him out. No runs, a hit, one man left. We've played 3. It's the Red Sox 3, the Indians nothing. Our TV mobile unlimited baseball break. If you have 3,000 hits, 600 doubles, and 450 home runs, this is your club.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice group right there, isn't it? Adrian Beltre just joined yesterday. Yastrzemski was a star here. Stan Musial from St. Louis, and Hammer and Hank. Pretty exclusive club.
Michael Brantley will lead off for Cleveland.
He had a hit taken away in his first at bat by Nunez at second.
So far, just one hit for the Indians. One to count. Down the left side, out of play.
Brantley has had success against Pfister. He's 11 now for 31.
He's run the count full, leading off this fourth inning. Boy, he really slowed it down and struck him out. Second K for Pfister.
Yeah, that's what he can do. And he came inside with it, that slow curveball. Really had him out in front, but look at him. Didn't slow the arm speed down, but a very nice curveball, 72 miles per hour. So he starts you off in a lot of times that he'll show you that he can go inside. So he'll mix it up and use everything.
Both of his strikeouts tonight on the exact same pitch, exact same location. One to a left-hander, one to a right-hander.
See early in the count how he tries to go inside. He either makes a perfect pitch or he misses off the plate. So about a 20-mile-an-hour difference between the slow curveball and his fastball inside. There's a changeup at 82. So you can see how hitters, you know, you just hope you're sitting on the one thing. If he hangs you a breaking ball, you hit.
I'll say this for him too. He works in a hurry.
Yeah, he always has worked quickly.
And he quickly walked Jose Ramirez on 4 pitches.
Second walk, and that's the second time that Ramirez has been on base.
Now Edwin Encarnacion, who first time up hit a screamer at third baseman Rafael Devers, who got his glove up but couldn't catch it. But he knocked it down, and that enabled them to get it out of force at second. Edwin Encarnacion, you see his career numbers here at Fenway Park, and since 2012 no one has hit more home runs in this ballpark as a visiting player. Both Edwin and his former teammate Jose Bautista have hit 14 here in that time span. One away.
That's the one thing that Pfister, which I like about him as a starter. He always gets back, gets to that rubber, gets the ball, and he works. He stays in a pretty good rhythm. It's you as a hitter sometimes that have to slow him down when he gets into a very good one. Nope.
He did not go. 3-1.
Nope. He's teasing him there. Everything's slow, off speed. He didn't want to give in. Eddie thought about it, but says, nah, didn't like it. He'll be sitting on a pitch here that he's going to have a healthy cup.
Another ball to third. Devers has it again. To second for one, on to first. Inning-ending double play. Middle of the fourth, 3-0 Boston.
get to see what is happening or isn't happening, and I can tell you that the Twitter isn't always fact.
No, really?
Not saying it's just fake news. I'm not going to go that far, but and I think it's fun for most people because you like talking about it. And I get it, but some of those things kind of get a life of their own, and some of the things you hear just aren't close to being true. Some of them are probably long shots at best, and then every once in a while something does happen.
And here's the other thing too, because I asked Chris Antonetti if he felt teams this year were asking for more in return than, say, in previous years from experience. And he said it depended on the situation and the different scenario. But he said there were some cases where the asking prices were just
astronomical,
not realistic.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's why you saw some players get pulled back this year, because teams, just said, look, if we're going to trade our guy, we need to get, and they probably had a list of objectives. If they didn't get those objectives met, they said, all right, we won't trade him.
Right, because it's affordable for them to keep as well. And you know what, even though the trading deadline ended at 4 today, you could still trade, up until the 31st.
Just a little more complicated now.
Yeah, just a little more complicated is right. Waivers come into play. And then those guys that may have been out there, you could always trade in the offseason too.
2-0 pitch to Mitch Moreland, 3-0.
Well, we've had about 3 or 4 3-0 counts here in the last 2 innings, which is not the way you want to pitch in this ballpark.
And he walks the leadoff man on 4 pitches.
Yeah, back to the walks again. That's number 4.
Go down to Andre.
The other thing that was said by Chris Antonetti that I thought stood out was he says, his job and Mike Chernoff's job is to not only take care of now, but they've got to take care of the future. And talking about giving up prospects and giving up guys in the minors, they can't just sell out, especially after the trade they made last year at this time for Andrew Miller.
Pitch to Christian Vasquez is inside. Vasquez was credited with a double, but that
was a joke.
That was a misplay that really was costly in the second. Should have been the end of the inning.
Get yourself a ground ball here and get the double play. He's grounded into 12 of them. Having a hard time throwing strike 1 tonight.
That's the second time tonight he's missed 6 straight.
Yeah, it's, I don't know if it's rushing, whatever it is.
That's going to bring Mickey out of the dugout again, because
you've got to get him on track. Right now, you can't afford to give up any more, and especially you can't give up any free base runners. And he's doing just that. He's making his job a lot tougher on himself. You're at the bottom part of the lineup where you have to get outs before it rolls over. You can see McAllister's up already.
Well, this was the second inning. There were 2 outs, and Ramirez just didn't come up with it.
And then a little flare. The inning should have been over. You flare it, and then you give up the 2. And then you get the double. Another run comes in, even though you get the second guy trying to score at home plate. But that was a 3-run inning. Gifts. You cannot give gifts.
And it's 2-1.
That's where consistently he's been throwing his fastball down. Good pitching. Keep it in that area. It doesn't matter how much plate you get, just keep it down.
Right back up the middle. And the Red Sox have their first 2 aboard.
This one is down, but he gets it right back up the middle. Maybe a little too much on the inner part of the plate. But he finds a hole, puts it into center field. That's already hit number 6. So they've had 10 base runners already. We're in the 4th inning.
Check swing foul into the crowd. Mookie Betts. No surprise he had the hit in the second inning that drove in a pair. He has the second best batting average in the league with runners in scoring position, batting .393. And he's got another one. Around third, Moreland coming home. Throw is not in time, and everybody's safe. Second and third, nobody out, and it's now 4-0 Boston.
And then on the throw home, you let Betts go to second base by going all the way home. You think you're going to throw him out, and it wasn't hit hard enough. Although Zimmer comes in and tries to make the throw all the way, not in time. And then you see the trailing runner, no cutoff man. You just keep going, and that's going to end Clevenger's day, and he's going to wonder why. But not a good outing, even though that 3-run inning wasn't all his fault.
The Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen has been made, and Zach McAllister will make the appearance out of the pen for the Tribe here in the 4th inning, with the Indians already down 4-0. And Terry Francona yanks Mike Clevenger after just 64 pitches. But pretty evident it's not his night. And so Zach McAllister will come on and try to keep the Indians in the game. But it's a tall order. Second and third, nobody out. And Brock Holt coming to the plate.
And they're going to play the infield in to try and cut off that run at home plate if possible. But yeah, here you have to minimize the damage if you're Zach McAllister, if you can. Yeah, the second straight start for Mike Clevenger that, you know, 2 rough ones. Last start against the Angels, 4 1/3. He gave up 9 hits. This one, 3+. He gives up 7 hits, and the command just wasn't there. He walked 4. And a play that was not made.
Out of play. With the infield in and nobody out. A 2-1 count for Brock Holt. Well, I think the Indians front office will be keeping their collective fingers crossed that both of the guys that we just saw in the Indians dugout, the one on the foreground and the one in the background, can bounce back.
Talking about Tomlin?
Because not only do they have to hope that Mike Clevenger's last 2 starts were just flukes and that he'll get things turned around, but they probably are also hoping that Josh Tomlin's injured hamstring isn't of a serious nature. 2-2. As I said yesterday, it seemed like best case scenario. He didn't have to be helped off the field. He didn't appear to be in a great deal of pain. But there's some lingering soreness in that hamstring. And if he has to go on the DL for longer than, say, a couple of weeks, that could prove to be problematic. 3-2 pitch. Especially if Mike Clevenger can't get things turned back around again.
Then you're looking like you're going from a 6-man rotation to 4 in a hurry. Well, you wait and see. Right now, McAllister's trying to navigate and get the first out of the inning. Oh, they get it out. He slowed it down enough.
Gonzalez throws out Holt, and everybody else stood their ground. Injury report brought to you by the attorneys at Elk and Elk. Jason Kempnis continues his rehab. Josh Tomlin. Andre will have more on that coming up here in a moment. Lonnie Chisenhall is a little bit behind Kempnis, still not quite ready to play in games, but he's getting there. Let's go down to Andre.
All right, here you go. Josh Tomlin will jump on a plane tomorrow, go back to Cleveland and get an MRI on that left hamstring. It's a little bit higher up in the hamstring area. Mickey Callaway told me if it wasn't his landing leg, it would be probably a little bit quicker to get him back. They're hoping he misses a start or 2, but they're going to let the MRI do the talking tomorrow morning. Lonnie Chisenhall has run the bases, but still at this point in time, they don't know when they're going to put him out the games. They're hoping in the next couple of days. Jason Kipnis had today off. He will play for the Akron Rubber Ducks tomorrow. They're hoping by the time the team gets home on Thursday, they may be able to make a decision on Kip.
All right. Eduardo Nunez. Had an RBI double his last time up. And he's got another RBI hit. Vasquez scores, butts to third. 5-0 Boston. With 1 out here in the 4th. Eduardo Nunez has driven in 2 already.
Yeah, wastes no time. Gets on that first fastball. It was inside, you know, on the inner corner, but he's opened up and uses the hands, gets it through the infield. Makes it a 5-0 ball game. Still a double play in order here. 1st and 3rd. He didn't even. He took
broken bat, and I think he slowed it down, and that enables Lindor to turn an inning-ending double play. But the Red Sox score 2 more and lead it now 5-0 after 4. brought to you by Levin Furniture. For the best deals on furniture and mattresses, shop Levin's. And by Cleveland Clinic, Express Care online. Download it now for free. So far, not the kind of start the Indians were looking for this big series against Boston. Red Sox out to a 5-0 lead. And offensively, the Indians have shown little life. One hit so far through the first 4 against Doug Fister, who had given up 30 hits and 25 innings on the year coming in. Doug Fister hasn't won a game since August 22nd of a year ago. So he's waited almost a full calendar year.
Right. You know, he opted out of a contract. He was with the Angels down in AAA, and he had an opt-out clause. And that's how Boston got him. He opted out.
Yeah, because I remember he was with Houston last year. Right?
Yes. Yeah. And then, you know, when you sign a minor league deal, you know, you would say, hey, if I'm not called up by X date, I can get out of this contract. You have to let him out because the guy has an opportunity to maybe go somewhere else.
That ball's hit well to deep left, and it's over the head of Holt. And Santana's going to dig for 2. Here's the throw, and he is out. That is a high-risk, low-reward move when you're down 5 runs.
Well, and Holt played it well. He got it off the wall, and it's not a very long throw from left field there. He had a really pretty swing on this baseball. But let's see, it just bounces straight up. He waits for it. You can see the one-hop throw. And, well, it was close. Let's see, did he get a hand in, or did he tag him before he could get? I see what he tried to do. But he made a good throw, and he's out. So it goes base hit, 7-4, or is it 7-6?
I think it was 4.
I did too.
Jackson out on strikes his first time up. And he takes strike 1 from Doug Fister. Strikes is Austin Jackson. So far this game, it seems as though the Indians have done nothing but compound one mistake on top of another.
Yeah, it's worked out that way, no doubt. Offensively, Fister's been fine. One hit by Ramirez, and then Santana there, and then he runs himself into it. But they've taken a couple of hits away. Took one away from Brantley, and one away from Bradley Zimmer back in the 3rd.
Hit the right and deep. Back is Betts. He runs it down just shy of the wall to end the inning. Well, even when they do hit a ball hard tonight, there's been a Red Sox defender ready to rob them. Halfway through, 5-0 Boston.
$15 for kids 12 and under with the purchase of an adult ticket. And the kids' tickets are located in the family deck at Progressive Field, home to the expanded kids clubhouse. You can only get the tickets at Indians.com.
Now we go now to the bottom of the 5th, and Jackie Bradley Jr. leads it off 0 for 2. Big swing and a miss. And a tapper foul. Zach McAllister came on for Mike Clevenger with nobody out in the 4th inning. A couple of guys on base. Strike 3 called.
Wasted no time there.
In-game recap brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. In that 2nd inning, it was a 2-run bloop single to center by Mookie Betts. And then Eduardo Nunez with a single to left got 1 run home. They threw out the second guy trying to score. It was 3-0, and then they tacked on 2 more in the 4th to make it 5-0. All 5 runs charged to Clevenger. Rafael Devers is 2 for 2, a single and a double. He is 3 for 3.
Well, he's hit the ball all over the place. He's been able to find the holes. He's off to a good start.
Seems to know what he's doing with the bat, that's for certain.
Look at that, stayed on it. That was a good fastball away. Didn't try to pull it. It's almost like the start that, if you remember, Travis Shaw, when he came up as a Red Sox game against the Indians, always seemed to get 2 or 3 hits a ball game. Well, first time he's faced the Indians, he is 3 for 3.
Xander Bogaerts is 0 for 2. Way out in front of it, 0-2. I want to send along happy birthday wishes to former Indians employee Rob Meyer, who's here at the game tonight.
Okay.
Also, happy 50th wedding anniversary wishes to Larry and Gloria Arnholt of Ashland, Ohio.
All right. The home folks.
0-2 on its way to Bogaerts. Another foul out of play. Also, got a note here, Ron Detour, owner of the Crow's Nest in Ashtabula, is here with his wife and family.
And I've got a Dwayne Isham turning 88 from Akron, Ohio, and a very happy birthday to you.
Saw a lot of folks here at the game tonight that are.
That's a good place to
Cleveland
come and take in
fans.
a ball
Yeah,
game.
yeah,
if you want to see the Indians, you can get yourself a ticket. Fun place to watch a game. A lot to do in the downtown before school starts with the kids, or whatever.
Saw fantasy camper Greg DePace. He's here with his family.
Okay. They're all over.
Yeah. The 0-2 is lined a short, caught by Lindor. Fires back to first, but Santana couldn't dig it out. Throw was right into the runner Devers, but there are 2 down in the inning.
Oh, that's just a quick throw by Lindor trying to get the double play as Devers is able to get back, and you'll see the throw right into his feet. Nothing Santana could do. He tried to pick it. They do get the second out on a line drive.
And Mitch Moreland to the plate. He scored a couple of runs tonight. Left field near the line. Long run for Brantley, and makes the catch to retire the side. 5 complete, 5-0 Boston. In Baltimore, where another guy everybody had their eye on, Zach Britton, and a lot of speculation, would he be on the move? Who was interested? A lot of teams were interested, but in the end, the Orioles pulled him back. And you have to assume it's because the asking price was just too exorbitant for anybody
too high,
to
and
cough it up.
I think you had to get the approval of the owner before he was going to get rid of that guy. I think that came into play as well.
And he's had some health issues, so there were probably some concerns if you're going to make that kind of a trade.
Yeah. When you're talking about Zach Britton, what did he pitch? Back-to-back games one time this year?
Just recently. He hadn't done it until just recently. So, yeah, I mean, it's easy to sit back and play amateur GM like we all do. Hey, wouldn't you love to trade
this guy for this guy and that guy?
Yeah.
You don't know the ramifications that are involved.
I mean, contracts involved, players that they're asking for, and then this happens. We don't get to find out because general managers don't air their dirty laundry out in public, because that doesn't help next time you want to make a trade. But let's say you and I are trying to make a deal. And then you say, Matt, I like your offer, but Andre's making me a better deal. Well, now, I don't know if that's true or not, but it might force my hand to, to maybe throw in another prospect or two. And so you get that maybe going on where teams are playing one against the other. And I'm sure it gets very complicated, and
it does, and it comes down to how badly do you want the guy you're going after. That's, I think, is the bottom line.
3-2 pitch, driven to right, but right at best. One down here in the 6th. Well, one of the big chips, if you will, is the big story of today is Yu Darvish, and a lot of speculation that he was going to be traded. There was speculation that the Indians emerged as one of the teams that were really in on him. Again, we won't know for sure if that was true or not, but in the end, he goes to the Dodgers. Now, the Dodgers are on pace to win 114, 115 games this year. They didn't need to do anything, but they went out. And even though Darvish just gave up 10 runs, I think, in his last start, which maybe gave some people pause to think, is this guy really worth it for a short-term rental?
Yeah, he's a free agent at the end of the year, so what are they going to give him? 5 or 6 starts, maybe.
But the Dodgers feel like with the team they have, they're going all in.
Well, they want another guy behind Kershaw is what they want, a number 2 guy, and he'd be a heck of a number 2 guy. He comes in. That's LA. It's World Series winners or bust. I think for them is what their thought process is.
Oh, when you're 40 some odd games over 500 before August 1st.
But you know, think about what they had to do last year through the playoffs. Good swing.
Bradley Zimmer has just the Indians' 3rd hit of the night. Going to bring up Francisco Lindor, who is 0 for 2 tonight. Here are the other deadline deals. Sonny Gray ended up going to the Yankees. Justin Wilson and Alex Avila go from the Tigers to the Cubs. Twins ended up trading Brandon Kinsler. He went to the Nationals. Yeah. Dodgers also got left-hander Tony Watson, another good bullpen piece. The
Astros get Liriano, the left-hander.
And I think he's going to go in their bullpen.
Well, we'll see. They just put colors on the DL today, I believe.
In case you haven't heard, I'm sure you probably have, the Indians made a deal today acquiring Joe Smith from the Toronto Blue Jays. So Joe is on his way to Beantown. Should be here, from what we understand, in time for tomorrow night's game. And it's a perfect fit because there's familiarity. A lot of the players know him. Obviously, the fans are well aware of Joe. He had some of his best years in the big leagues, really, in an Indians uniform.
Well, and he gives just a different look to that bullpen, which is going to be nice. You know, everybody looks for different arm angles or something like that for a guy coming out of there. I don't care if you're right-handed or left-handed. But Joe Smith has that sinker, that slider to right-handers that could be awfully tough on, and he's not taking anybody's spot, as Tito said. He's there to help the workload, where he can use him in different situations against different hitters. And he'll be a nice matchup for a lot of guys, and he'll help the bullpen, no doubt, with the way they can use him.
2-1 pitch. Lindor comes up empty, and it's 2-2. Right back to Fister. And did he kick the bag? Yes, he did. And there are 2 down.
Yeah.
Not an easy play for Bogarts, who had to make sure he got to the bag.
Fister rushed the throw, and he didn't give him a good throw to where they could turn it. Watch, it was a little high, and he had to go up on the bag, and then he comes down to kick the bag, which he had, and then he was just out of rhythm to throw the ball to first base. So they get the force out.
And so with 2 down, Michael Brantley 0 for 2 is the batter.
You know, you look at the numbers for Doug Fister on the year and you say, man, a 746 coming in. He's pitched a pretty good ball game.
There's a ball hit well, deep center. Back is Jackie Bradley, and he gets there in time to run it down. No runs ahead, a man left. Middle of the sixth, 5-0 Red Sox.
And access to Tribe Rewards. And today's Tribe Rewards code is Allen. Visit Indians.com for complete details.
Zach McAllister stays on now to pitch the bottom of the sixth. He's done a nice job in relief. 2 scoreless innings, couple of hits allowed. He has struck out a batter. Christian Vasquez is 2 for 2, a single, a double, and 2 runs scored. Though the double was really a generous scoring decision back in the second inning. In fact, a real key turning point early in this game.
Yeah, it was, man. That's how they scored early. They got the 3 runs on the board on a play that should have been made. Could have been out of that inning.
You know, I was going to ask you this at the time, but the inning got away from us quickly. Not to look for excuses, but with Jose Ramirez bouncing back and forth quite a bit here lately with Kipnis out between second and third, does that have any impact on that play?
I don't think so. I really don't think so. He's been great anywhere he goes. It's just he didn't get down on the ball. That's all. That's a good pitch.
2 and 2.
I have a hard time to say, you know, he's been bouncing. And yeah, he has. It's just, you know, different ballpark, different surroundings. I don't know. Andre, if you get a chance, maybe you can ask him tonight after the ball game and see. I would say no.
2-2. A little high, full count. In the air, right field. Jackson runs it down, 1 away.
You know, let's take another look at that play. You see it's right there. Now, maybe he thought that ball was going to come up a little bit more than it did. That may be true because it hits the dirt. That's just a play. I don't know if the spin or whatever happened. You have to ask him.
Yeah.
You know, I really couldn't tell you, but it was a play I thought he should have made, and I bet he does too.
I'll say this too for Jose, for a guy that came up as a shortstop and then made himself into a really good second baseman, and then moved over to third, and he's made himself into a really good third baseman.
Yeah.
He's done a tremendous job no matter where they've asked him to play.
That's what happens up here when you see these guys play on a daily basis. They do it, and they make it look so easy. And you know, for a guy that's never played a day of third base, goes to the big leagues and plays it the way he has, we expect him to make every play. So that's why I'm saying if there's anything happen, you're going to have to ask him about it. But he's been terrific day in and day out, no matter where you put him. You go back last year in left field with Brantley out. I mean, he never hurt the team, and he never played the outfield before in the big leagues. That's a lot of pressure that nobody realizes. And he goes out there. Not only does he play good defense at the position he plays, he's also one of the better offensive players.
At least when you're on the infield, you can turn and talk to the guy next to you. If you're Michael Brantley out there, there's nobody to talk to when you're in left field.
Well, outfield, yeah, you're by yourself.
You got to scream just to get anybody's attention.
Yeah, you talk to yourself. Well, that's how you learn how to whistle, to get somebody to pay attention to you and wave. You know, you walk around, you have a lot of.
The fans are hooting on you probably nonstop.
Yeah. Well, yes. You expect that on the road, but you talk to yourself an awful lot.
Missed outside, another full count.
But what happens, though, you know, when a pitcher's not throwing strikes, that's when you start moving around to try and stay loose. But when you have guys on base in between pitches, that's when you start preparing yourself mentally what you do. And if a ball's hit to my left, to my right, which way do I go? Cut off and relays. You start programming that into your mind before the play is even, before the ball is even hit. So then after you go through all that, it's programming in your mind and you just react.
Swung out and missed. McAllister strikes him out with a high fastball. His second strikeout.
Zach's coming out throwing the ball very well.
Tune in tomorrow after the game for the Tribe Report presented by GMC. Alan Jensen will recap the week, get everyone up to date on the Indians minor league system. It's all coming up tomorrow following the game right here on Sports Time Ohio.
So McAllister's given up 2 hits, and he's gone, what, 2 2/3. He's done a nice job out there. I think Armstrong's getting loose, and Zach's probably coming to the end of the line here for him. 34 pitches. Did a pretty good job. Had a nice breaking ball tonight. Good fastball as always.
Slap to left, and Brantley is there and makes the catch. So Zach McAllister gives the Indians 3 scoreless out of the bullpen, but it's still 5-0 Red Sox. The injury lawyers at Elk & Elk, proud partners of the Cleveland Indians. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. By the stylish 2017 Kia Optima and by Smart Path Forward. Lakeland Community College is your Smart Path Forward. Start now. A beautiful night here in Beantown, where Boston leads 5-0 as we head to the 7th inning. Indians have been held to 3 hits by Doug Fister, looking for his first win in almost a calendar year.
Yeah, and with an out here, it'll be his longest outing of the year. In his first start for the Red Sox, he pitched 6 innings, although it was in a losing effort against the team that they got him from.
Broken bat, fly ball, 1 out.
And it's typical Doug Fister, man. He sinks it. He changes speeds. He throws the breaking ball away. He works quickly. He doesn't mess around, but he works both sides of the plate. He works north and south. And, you know, he keeps you off balance. And it seems like anytime the Indians have hit the ball hard tonight, they've made a couple of good plays on the infield. And the line drives to the outfield have been right at the defenders. So.
For me, it's been a turn back the clock game. He looks like the same Doug Fister we faced when he was with the Tigers.
Right.
Before that, Seattle? I mean, just it doesn't look like anything's changed. I can't believe he's 0-5 on the year.
You're right. Like I said, you look at his numbers now and you're thinking, how can that be? But
you know, people usually say, well, the guy has good numbers against a team over a long period of time. You say, well, that doesn't mean anything.
It's not the same hitter.
The teams change, right? But I don't know, something about he sees Cleveland and he just settles down.
We see it a lot. It doesn't matter that the team can be different, but it's sometimes just the uniform walks into a ballpark and you get hits or you get outs. But he's pitched well.
Oh, he just made Encarnacion look bad. That's his 4th strikeout, 2 down here in the 7th.
He's just going to come inside with a good heater. And you can see he throws it by him. I think Encarnacion there was sitting on a breaking ball. He just couldn't catch up to it.
And with 2 down, here's Carlos Santana, who has reached twice, but a base running mistake his last time up. But you have to wonder, on the way it's gone tonight, would it even have mattered?
True.
Still, as you always say, when you're down and when a guy's pitching as well as he is, you can't run into outs. You can't make mistakes on the bases.
No, you've got to be sure of yourself. And on the other hand, you know, you can't. We've given the Red Sox too much on the defensive side by walks and not making plays. You certainly can't make mistakes and give them your outs.
John Farrell and Carl Willis have to be thrilled with what Fister has given Boston here tonight. And the Red Sox are probably thinking inside that dugout, they need a win to stay up with New York. Yankees pasting Detroit 5-1 in the 6th in the Bronx. And Santana waves at it and strikes out. 5 Ks for Fister. He retires the side in order in the 7th. Stretch time at Fenway, 5-0 Red Sox. Miller Lite. Last October, Indians came to Boston, got rained out, and the very next night, they beat the Red Sox to sweep the ALDS. Touched off a great celebration here at Fenway. And what was really cool about that moment is that as the Indians celebrated and all of this was going on the other side of the field, David Ortiz made his way back onto the field, and all of these people stayed in their seats, and Ortiz basically waved farewell to the crowd. I don't remember if he took the microphone, but he stood out there on the field and he waved to the crowd, and they gave him quite a send-off after an incredible career, obviously, here with the Red Sox. And then the Indians went inside the Boston clubhouse and soaked it with champagne. Spent the night and then flew back home to Cleveland the next day to begin preparations for the ALCS. But it was funny for me. It brought back memories of the first time I ever came to Boston, when I was with the club on the radio side doing pre and post game. We came here in '95 for the ALDS. And it was the same deal. Won game.
Won the first two.
Came in, Charlie Nagy pitched. Jim Thome hit a big home run to right. They beat him, swept him. It was in and out. On to the ALCS. The 0-2 pitch.
John Armstrong coming in.
I think the big difference was in '95. Even though they were still the Red Sox, the Indians were the favorite team that year. Last year, I think most people had to feel Boston was the favorite. With
but home field advantage certainly helped the Indians last year.
And they jumped them early. The 0-2. Threw his bat at it, punches it into deep left, and it's over Brantley's head.
It's his third hit, Nunez.
Eduardo Nunez with his second double of the evening.
The line drive, and I mean it gets over the head of Michael. Just he had a beat on it, but he wasn't there. It was about a foot or two short. So that is hit number 10 for the Red Sox, the third for Nunez. And Armstrong coming on in this inning after 3 solid innings by McAllister. This is his 6th time up here with the Indians this year. He has been the elevator man, up and down between Columbus and Cleveland all year.
What did they call those guys in the old days? Were they just elevator operators? You know, the guys that used to, back in the old days, they'd sit in the elevator.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if there was a special nickname for them. We didn't have elevators in Niagara Falls. We took the stairs.
The 0-1 in the air to center. Nunez will tag, but he is not going to test the arm of Bradley Zimmer. 1 away. Tomorrow it's baseball night in Ohio, even though we're here at Fenway. Indians Red Sox will battle it out. Carlos Carrasco against Chris Sale. Great matchup. Indians Live begins our coverage at 6:30. First pitch 7 o'clock right here on Sports Time Ohio and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. 1 on 1 out for Jackie Bradley Jr. 0 for 3.
Oh my goodness.
He never saw him.
He stopped. He had a running jump. He
Nunez
took his eye off him and forget about it.
He was so far out there, he kind of felt weird, like, uh-oh.
I got to stop.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it was like not even close. This is what you get, you know, you get set, boom. Look at him. He was off and running. He never looked back twice. So he goes strolling in. That's going to bring the infield in here. So that certainly helps the at bat for Bradley.
And a strike on the outside corner. Boston has banged out 10 hits on the night. And yet 2 of the guys you often worry about when you play Boston, this guy, Jackie Bradley Jr. and Xander Bogaerts, are 0 for 6 combined. And Hanley Ramirez, you could throw him in there. He's 0 for 3. Missed inside. Fouled that off of his foot.
Looks like it went off the front foot here. Oh, right. He's got the pad down there.
And it hit right on it.
It
too.
sure did. You know, and even if you've fouled one off there earlier, it's still going to be sensitive. That pad sort of just protects it from the ball hitting. It still hurts.
And with the infield in, the 2-2 pitch on its way. Up high, full count. Payoff pitch, and he struck him out. Bradley went up the ladder, couldn't reach it.
Well, he comes back and now has a chance to get out of this inning. So he elevates the heater here. You know, you look for somebody, you get to 2 strikes. That's a good pitch with a man on. Third base, they're looking to elevate it, but he chased it out of the zone.
Rafael Devers, he is 3 for 3 on the night. 2 singles and a double. Broke his bat, bloops it in, another base hit. He's 4 for 4 on the night. Now he has an RBI, and it's 6-0 Red Sox.
Well, you look at the night that Devers has had. It's a ground ball up the middle for a base hit. In his first at bat, he's going to go the other way off the monster for a double. And then shoots one to left. This guy, you talk about using the whole field. He certainly does. Then he's going to pull one in this at bat for an RBI, and it's a big 2-out RBI, and makes it a 6-0 ball game. So 4 for 4 for the rookie.
Xander Bogaerts 0 for 3. Well, third base has definitely been something of a problem spot for Boston this year. Rafael Devers is the 7th different player to start at third this year for Boston. But maybe, just maybe, the youngster who they just recently called up, with his performance here tonight, maybe further cementing their belief that he is the answer. Line drive, base hit in the left field by Xander Bogaerts. And now the Red Sox have 2 on with 2 out. Bogaerts has his first hit of the game. Let's go down to Andre.
Well, what's going on with Pedroia right now is he's got a left knee that's getting irritated. Basically, John Farrell says when he has any volume or extensive volume, he says it flares up and they've got to monitor it. So they're exposed. He says it's exposed to additional treatment. They're just being cautious at this point in time, but they say they need a lot of recovery time. So this is something that could go on the rest of the season. They're going to have a couple doctors look at it, but it's an issue for the Red Sox right now.
Well, and we're talking about Dustin Pedroia. That's another reason why Eduardo Nunez is a good fit for them, because if they feel strongly that Devers is the man at third, then Nunez plays second while Pedroia is out.
And Pedroia leads them, I want to say, in batting average. He leads them in a lot of offensive numbers, and he's their leader, too.
He's been hot. He's been hot. They like to have him in there, that's for sure, if they could. But they may have a little protection. They can give him a little extra time, which would be good for him.
Pablo Sandoval was here with the Red Sox, signed a monster deal. It was a disaster from the get-go for Boston, and he started 25 games. I should say, I think he started 25 games at third this year for Boston, but they eventually just cut him loose. And then Devin Marrero, another former first-round pick, he started 37 games, so he's the guy that started the most games at third, but he was recently sent back to AAA. And now it appears that it's Devers' job to lose. Four hits tonight, 3 singles, a double, now a run batted in. 2 on, 2 out, Mitch Moreland the batter. Two and 2. And another full count.
26 pitches in the inning now for Armstrong.
And that's outside, ball 4. So the bases are loaded with 2 down. Christian Vasquez will be the 7th man to bat in the inning, and that's going to bring out Mickey Callaway. Boston and Cleveland meeting for the first time during the regular season this year. But the Indians' schedule is going to get very difficult very quickly. The Indians have this 3-gamer with Boston. They'll go home and play the Yankees for 4. And Colorado comes in for a brief 2-game series. Then they go down to Tampa for 4. Yeah. Tampa's over 500. They've lost 7 out of 10, but they're still right there in the thick of the wild card race, so they're going to be a tough foe. They'll go to Minnesota for 3. Then to Kansas City, big showdown against the Royals. Then back home, Boston comes in for 4, Kansas City for 3, then they go to New York for 3 games to close out August. That, folks, is going to be some kind of grind. Ball 1 to Christian Vasquez. He has singled, doubled, and scored 2 runs on the night. Two and 0. Do it. Jackson will make the catch. Red Sox leave them loaded, though they do add to their lead. Through 7, Boston 6, Cleveland nothing. Presented by authority of the Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. Six nothing. Boston on top as we go to the 8th. For the Indians, it'll be the bottom third of the order. Austin Jackson, Yan Gomes, Eric Gonzalez. Doug Fister with a terrific outing. 3-hit shutout baseball through 7.
Yeah, and he's 98 pitches, so they're going to send him right back out there. He's been free and easy. He's worked quickly. They've made some nice plays behind him defensively. But this is exactly who he's looked like that we remember him for a long time. You see at the 100 pitch mark, 61% strikes. He's walked 2, struck out 5.
And a line drive in a left field, a base hit for Austin Jackson.
Austin turns one around and gets it past one of the defenders. He left that little fastball, the 2-seamer, in the middle of the plate. He took advantage of it. Only the 4th hit for the Indians. And Austin with an 8-game hitting streak now. 14 for 29.
And a ground ball in the hole. Backhanded by the shortstop. Bogarts goes to second. They get the force on Jackson, one away.
Well, the Red Sox have played good defense tonight. When the Indians have hit the ball hard, it starts right there with Nunez at second base, taking a hit away from Michael Brantley in the first, and then Moreland takes one away from Zimmer, and then the throw, a single by Santana, the good throw by Holt to second base to get him, and then you'll see Betts going back on a fly ball to put it away.
Line drive to right, coming hard and making a chest-high catch is Betts.
Anytime they've hit it hard on the line in the outfield, it's caught. It's just been one of those days. Right now, Doug Fister living right. He's pitched well, but then again, when they're hit hard, right at the defenders, taking nothing away from him. That's how it goes sometimes.
There's a blast into deep right field. Back is Betts. He's out of room. It's out of here. Bradley Zimmer with a 2-run homer. With 2 down in the 8th, gets the Indians on the board. It's now a 6-2 ball game. Zimmer's 8th home run of the year. RBIs number 36 and 37.
Yeah, he gave that one a jolt. They can't defend that one. But maybe a fan made a catch. Well, Zimmer got this one, his last 2 at-bats. He gave him a little swinging room, a ball away, and he hits that one into the seats above the bullpen. So that one's a pretty good poke out there to right field. And that's going to do it for Fister on the night. They finally do a little damage.
He goes 7 2/3 and leaves after the 2-run homer by Zimmer. With the Red Sox still up 4. We'll be right back. Six-2 in favor of the Red Sox. The Indians have put 2 on the board here in the 8th. There are 2 down in the inning. Francisco Lindor coming to the plate. Doug Fister went 7 2/3, allowed 2 runs on 5 hits. Walked 2, struck out 5. And he gives way to Brandon Workman, making his 11th appearance on the year.
Big guy, 6'5", 238.
He has pitched scoreless baseball in 7 of his 10 appearances with the Red Sox, including each of his last 4. First pitch curveball, strike 1.
Tommy John surgery in 15, and last year was sort of on the rehab trail coming back. So this year able to make it to the Red Sox.
And there's a breaking ball hit into right field. So Lindor keeps the inning alive for the Tribe.
Well, you can get to the ballpark early for a pregame unveiling of the Lou Boudreau statue that'll take place August 5th, Saturday. 12,500 fans will receive a replica statue of Lou, courtesy of Wayside Furniture, when the Indians will take on the New York Yankees. Go to Indians.com for your tickets.
Michael Brantley looks. It's outside with a fastball. Brantley 0 for 3 has grounded out, struck out, flied out. And a ground ball up the middle. That's another hit. Lindor will hit second. He'll fly to third. Bradley comes up throwing way offline. And the Indians have runners at the corners with 2 down, and now Jose Ramirez is coming up.
Tell you what, you can hit one out of here, you can get back into the ball game. If not, another base hit, just keep the train moving. They're doing some damage. 4 hits in the inning.
And that Red Sox bullpen is sprinting to get busy again, as Carl Willis is going to try to slow the Tribe down by taking a walk to the mound.
Right. They're going to let somebody else get loose in that bullpen.
Blaine Boyer starts to get hot in a hurry. You've got Ramirez, then Encarnacion.
You really never know. Seen a lot of strange things. You get base runners and somebody could pop one and get you right back into a ball game. I know they were down 6, but the home run by Zimmer gave that dugout a little bit of life. Then you get back-to-back singles after they go to the bullpen, and now you're into the meat of the lineup. You got 4 and 5 coming to the plate.
Well, like you said, Ramirez gets aboard, and you've got the tying run at the dish. We're in the 8th. Indians down 4. Held to just 3 singles through the first 7 innings. And all of a sudden here in the 8th, they have 3 singles and a home run. 2 on the board, and a chance for more if Ramirez can deliver.
That's what I want to say. You know, the line drives they caught earlier in the game, you'd love to see a bloop just to keep the inning going, or double. I don't care what. Just reach base here. Get that tying run to the plate anyhow you can.
And Workman fires in there for a strike to even the count.
That's why in this ballpark, if you keep the game intact, that's why that last inning when Armstrong came in and he did give up a run. If you keep it a 5-0 game, you never know in this ballpark. Weird things happen. Nope.
Ramirez pops it in the air, left center, dropping in a hurry, and running it down is Brock Holt to end the inning. The Indians get 2 on the board. Bradley Zimmer's 8th home run of the year. 6-2 Red Sox. Mazda. Francisco Lindor extended his hitting streak with a base hit in the 8th inning. And Mookie Betts, who's leading off the 8th as this table setter. He set the table, he ate the food, and he cleaned the table. He has 2 hits. He has 3 runs batted in. He has a run scored. And Sean Armstrong staying on the pitch the last half of the 8th. Drives one into right. Austin Jackson pulls it down, 1 away. Tonight on Training Camp Daily, Duke Johnson will be all over the field this season for the Browns. Will he line up at wide receiver? Speaking of the receivers, Jim Donovan, Tony Rossi, and Doug Deacon will cover the Browns' young wideouts. It's all tonight at 11 on Sports Time Ohio and streaming on Fox Sports Go. Here is Brock Holt. 0 for 2. He has walked twice. And takes a fastball strike. Swung on and missed.
This Boston lineup reminds me of the Indians lineup a little bit, where they can hit you and get doubles and get base hits and string together something. They may not hurt you with the long ball, but they can string together innings, and you cannot give them extra base runners like earlier in the game. Mike Clevenger ended up walking 4 of them. You give them free base runners, and then that just gets them going. If they hit their way on, it's one thing. Same thing with the Indians. You walk them, the more base runners you give them, the opportunity is going to be there for them to get you.
And I think Rick, too, as the 1-2 pitch is headed up the middle and through. Brock Holt has his first hit. With David Ortiz no longer being in that lineup, maybe it has given them some freedom to be a little more aggressive on the bases. Maybe that's why we've seen higher stolen base totals from the Red Sox and a number of different guys. They don't have to just kind of sit and anchor themselves and wait for him to deliver.
No, right. That's true. And you should. You're going to have to move runners or start runners and let them hit. There's nothing wrong with that.
Tito will take the ball. Sean Armstrong will exit. And Tyler Olson will be coming on when we come back. Indians with 1-on-1 out here on the bottom of the 8th. Indians down 6-2, making his 3rd appearance of the year for the Tribe. Chris Antonetti was asked earlier today about the Indians' search for another left-hander for their bullpen, perhaps during the waiver trading period. And Chris said, look, we want to give Tyler Olson an opportunity. We want to get a look at him. And so for right now, Tyler Olson is your second left-hander in the bullpen.
Well, and I think this is a situation that's exactly why Tito brought him in here. You know, you can hold a guy on at first base. You're going to go through the middle part of that lineup and see what he has and what he can do.
Slow chopper towards third. Ramirez grabs it. He'll go to first to get the sure out. 2 down. Holt moves to second.
Well, you like that, boy, when they swing at that first pitch and make it out.
Hanley Ramirez 0 for 3 has struck out, banged into a double play, and fly to center. Now Joakim Soria gave it up tonight for Kansas City. 3 singles in the bottom of the ninth, and the Orioles walked off the Royals 2-1. Probably a bitter pill to swallow for Kansas City, because you know they saw the scoreboard and saw what was going on here, figuring there's a chance to pick up a game.
Well, they've been playing good baseball again in Baltimore. Ubaldo Jimenez shut them down for 7 innings, gave up just the 1 run. And that's all they can score in a ball game.
Down on strikes is Hanley Ramirez. And we go to the ninth. 6-2 Boston. Here in the ninth inning, it will be Edwin Encarnacion, Carlos Santana, and Austin Jackson due up. And Edwin takes ball 1. He is 0 for 3 on the night. Pulls it foul. Edwin, first time up, hit a line smash, but it was right at the third baseman Devers, who couldn't catch it, but he knocked it down, and they got a force out on the play. Next time up, hit it at Devers again. This time he turned it into a double play, and he hits it to Devers again. Try somebody else. One away. Here's a weird one, Arch. You know, you always wonder, like, well, where were you when you heard the news you got called up to the big leagues? You always hear guys ask that question, and some of them are really neat and interesting stories. Well, Brandon Kinsler of the Minnesota Twins today. Twins are in San Diego to play the Padres. They had an off day today. So he went to the San Diego Zoo. When he found out he got traded to the Washington Nationals, he said he was literally feeding a rhino. Top that one.
Oh, boy.
What were you doing when you found out you got traded?
Oh, they had an off day. Okay, they were out there, and he was enjoying it.
Feeding a rhinoceros.
That could be a nice addition to the Nationals bullpen as well.
Santana pops one back out of play. Boy, Houston laying a whooping on Tampa tonight. 10-2 Astros in the fifth. The 0-2 blew it by him. 2 down. Dustin Pedroia on your right. Rick Porcello was sitting next to him, last year's Cy Young Award winner. And Austin Jackson 1 for 3 on the night at the plate, and he takes a called strike. In the air, right field. This should do it. Mookie Betts makes the catch. The Red Sox win the series opener, beating the Indians by a final score of 6.